Hello there and welcome to Quack Co, where every video is 10 minutes or less, guaranteed.
Or your money.
It's double your money back. Come on, man. We've been doing this for a long time now.
I don't know the intro line, Wes. You took my part.
I know. This is great. Because normally what we do is we sit down and then you're like, hey, it's fine. We're just going to start this. And then you'll watch me go, all right, what are we talking about? And then all of a sudden it'll kick in and I'll go, okay, I know where we're going. So now it's my turn to do this very thing.
I have no idea what this conversation is.
This conversation is about Kickstarters, okay?
Love Kickstarters.
The conversation for you is, do you invest your money in games that you know you're going to be able to get at retail later, or those big box games where people have played them for a little while and then you get that little aftermarket one, you're like, it's fine, I'll buy someone's Kickstarter a year later. Or do you invest your money on small indie projects that will never be built without your help? Perfect example. I backed a game called Steeplechase. Mm-hmm. It's a game that's handmade.
Listen, Steeplechase, I'm interested.
Handmade.
I'm interested. You got 26 backers.
There's literally only 26 copies. They will be numbered.
You're 27.
Okay? The question is, do you put your money into really interesting indie projects, small published pieces that definitely would not see the light of day without you, and risk that maybe that game isn't that great, or that it could be absolutely amazing but can't get done without your help? Because you're going to be able to get the CMON title Kickstarter at some point. Someone's going to get rid of it. They're going to be out there. You might pay a little bit more money for it, but do you need to back it right away? Or do you support those little indie creators that are doing something really cool, really unique, and can't make that game without you?
So what you're trying to... This is a Monday Musings episode, by the way, where we sit down and have a conversation with you about industry, about habits, about what we're dealing with here on the channel. And the quandary you're presenting is the debate that is Kickstarter at its heart. Is Kickstarter a pre-order, buy the biggest stuff, buy the best stuff, buy the stuff that's established, the Terraforming Mars Deluxe Upgrade Kit?
Oh, yeah.
It's a marketing tool for a company that really doesn't need it.
Right.
Or is Kickstarter a place for projects to become, for them to exist? And the answer is somewhere grayed in the middle. Like, for instance, you mentioned CMON.
Right.
And while I know there is a strong contingent of people out there that say CMON doesn't need Kickstarter, the reality is the size and scope of what CMON does would not be exist without a crowdfunding platform. So I don't know that they're the best example.
Well, but
for
my
me,
point
it would
is
be more the direct-to-retail line of stuff, the stuff that you know for a fact. Like when Terraforming Mars, that's the one I'm going to pick on.
Sure. When
it came out with, or if Jamie Stonemeyer was still doing like Wingspan,
right?
When you have an evergreen title and it's coming out with a new expansion or a new module, and you just happen to put it up there, and like me, who backed Terraforming Mars, had it in retail before I had my Kickstarter pledge, that's the area where I feel a little weird.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is do you do that? Or there's plenty of people. It's not like the big, huge, amazing Kickstarters that have tons of value in them aren't going to get made. All right? They're going to get made. There's going to be people who have extra copies. There's going to be people who never play through it. This guy here has had multiple different versions in his basement of wonderful titles that have been sitting there unopened in the original shipping box for multiple years that he would then unload because he's like, I'm never going to get a chance to play this game. So there's some amazing games that will be out in the market that just happen to be there as secondhand uses in the original boxes.
So this next year, what are you looking at? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the best, the brightest, the shiniest, at the best price possible, at the first person to get it in, like the wave of content? Are you looking at Kickstarter as a pre-order system, a place to back games? Like, instead of going to your Target or your Walmart, is it just your local game store in its own weird and unique way? Which I think a lot of people treat it like that. I know I have in the past.
Or are you looking for those hidden gems, those things that are just amazing, the handmade pieces, the really unique games that would never be available without the Kickstarter project?
Are you proud of yourself like West is when you're number 26... on a handmade game where you spent $120 on this thing?
Yeah, I did.
Like, legitimately invested in this project.
Yeah.
With 26 other people to get something that has some good reviews.
It's amazing.
Like, some people have really enjoyed it, but it's not commercialized. It's not big. It's not bold. And I personally, I fall somewhere in between those two camps. As the channel has grown, and I've honestly had more access to more games, and I've understood the nature of our hobby where anything I desperately want nowadays
is available.
Nothing's rare anymore.
Yeah.
It isn't. Anything I desperately want with a little bit of extra cash, which honestly I could just sell some board games to get that extra cash, I can purchase. So if something needs to be in my collection, needs to be in my roster, it is buyable and findable. And so I've gravitated towards trying to support and trying to find and trying to identify those projects that are weird or out there or indie or would not exist. Legitimately could not exist if they don't meet their funding goal, and would not, like, there would be no profit if they didn't go above their funding goal by thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, even
your little handmade guy might make a couple hundred on his projects.
Maybe he makes that. But there are other projects like recently Mycelium. That's a great little indie project. Really different, really unique, something crazy fun that the guy's like, hey, I quit my job. I'm doing this. I got to get this done. This has to succeed. Otherwise, I'm out.
Yeah.
And incredible value on that Kickstarter. If you backed it, you got a great deal.
I backed it.
Yeah, so
but
did
I backed it because it's one of those that, like, yes, here's where I stand on this. I could absolutely, as Quackalope, reach out to that company and say, hey, not only do I want a copy of your game, but we highlighted it. We did coverage for you. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
You could just send us a copy of the game.
Yep.
But that's not the approach that I'm
not
taking.
how it
it's
works.
not the approach that I want my community to take, right? I want to put my money where my support, where my mouth is. And for indie publishers, for people that are trying to make things happen, because that's all we are as well.
Right.
We're indie content creators trying to make things happen.
Exactly.
We in our community and the people who care about that side of the industry should be showing up to support that side of the industry. You should have some portion of your board game budget, some portion of your dedicated hobby funds going to the stuff that is a bit riskier.
Exploring.
That wouldn't happen. And let me just highlight why this matters.
Yeah.
Let me name a few games.
Please do.
That are worth thinking through when you ask yourself the question, would our hobby be better or worse if this thing didn't exist? Kingdom Death Monster. That first campaign that it launched, still an indie little gem. They had the game components on what looked like a checkerboard, and they promised you they could make something cool.
Yep.
You all backed that. You all supported that. And then you all blew it out of the air on the next launch after they delivered something cool. Let's think through Gloomhaven, a game that financially should not exist.
100%.
A game that, as far as I'm aware, really made no profit until they got to the next printing and the retail, which is commonplace for Kickstarter. Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion, Cephalofair Games in and of itself is a company built off of the back of Kickstarter.
Yep.
And let's look at a company that has moved away from Kickstarter. Stonemaier Games, I already mentioned them. Let's think through Scythe. Let's think through Viticulture, which I don't know if Viticulture was on Kickstarter.
But we know Scythe was.
But I'm saying let's think through Scythe and think through the foundation that company is built off of, and then look at the titles that a company like that has been able to create later on. Wingspan exists because Kickstarter started the company.
Yep.
And I believe, and I fully mean this, we are not at the end of the life cycle of games and game publishers coming into our hobby space. We're at the beginning of it. More IP crossovers, more amazing projects, more people that you decided to support and put your funds behind and be part of that journey. Like, how cool would it be if I could sit here and tell you from day zero, from ground floor, I was a fan and advocate of Gloomhaven.
Right.
How cool would that be?
That would be amazing.
Right? You get to brag about that. You get to share that. And that's part of this. That's part of this hobby as well. We all know that. We all admit that, I think.
Yeah. And I think there's a risk to putting money in those places because you're going to get some stinkers. It happens. But at the same time, you have something vital and unique, and you have helped to grow the hobby and given a publisher and a designer an opportunity to keep doing that
let me be clear,
hone their craft.
This is not an advocate for charity.
No.
This is an advocate for
Get a game.
Finding good stuff.
Yeah.
But keeping your eyes open for good, weird, twisted indie projects. But ultimately, that's our advocate. That's where we've got to the hobby space after years of being in this Kickstarter market and doing content creation, which is a lens that a lot of people don't have.
Very different.
So the question for you, again, on Monday Musings, we'd like to try to talk with you in the comment section to learn more about our community, to continue figuring out how we can create and craft content that you're looking for. What are you hunting for? What are you putting your money behind? Are you going after indie gems? Are you looking for just the big box pre-order system?
Yeah.
Are you trying to discover cool new games? Or are you just one of those people, like me to some degree, who wants all of the shiny things? When CMON launches a project, because it won't exist in retail outside of this, that's where I go shopping for it.